Hi everybody, and welcome back to our YouTube channel. So many of you have asked if we could give a tour of the house, and the answer is yes. So we're heading into the entrance hall, and you're wondering maybe what this basket is. Well, it's filled with lovely, lovely 100% cashmere stoles, and they are the Lindsay tartan because, Luke, your family
well, my great-grandmother was a Lindsay.
That's
so
right.
In we go into the dining room, which is actually laid for breakfast. And it looks rather wonderful, doesn't it?
It looks sensational. So again, this is just laid for breakfast because the guests are arriving a little bit later, but their first meal in the house will be breakfast. And we love these chairs. We've got 14 around, is that right? 8, 10, 12.
We're fitting 12 now, but we can fit 14.
Yes.
And over in the corner here, we've got space for a little children's table. So we could have up to 18 people seated here if we wanted to.
Exactly.
But that's an awful lot. So we're just kicking off with 12 for breakfast.
Yeah, and again, just things to note in this room is, of course, the lovely arts and crafts ceiling up above. Of course, the paneling that's all around this room. But did you know that the dining room, the entrance hall, and the hall that we're heading into right now used to be the Great Hall?
That's right. It all got divided up to turn it into a hall and a sitting room. But you've got this magnificent overmantel here that comes from another local house. But this is really the comfortable place where we all sit by a large fire, warm ourselves, have tea,
yes,
listen to the clock as it chimes on the hour.
Exactly, and I think
and peer at various ancestors.
And peer at various ancestors. And what I do love about this space here is, again, as Luke just mentioned, this was once the Great Hall, but it was divided up to make these homes more comfortable. And that's exactly what this is. It's really comfortable in here, but yet at the same time, it's keeping, again, the interiors, the ancestors around sort of as they were, but making it a comfortable space. So where should I head next, Luke?
Let's go into the drawing room because it's right here.
So drawing room, one of my favorite rooms in the entire house. And this is where, for our Grand Historic Tour, we will be having a couple drinks receptions in here. It's lovely, it's beautiful. I'm walking carefully on an Aubusson rug, and the furniture around me is Regency. We just, again, wanted to create a space that really does highlight your ancestors, Luke, in particular the 4th Earl of Sandwich.
We can see the 4th Earl up on the wall there, and his partner, some would say mistress, Martha Ray.
Exactly, and his mother to my right. And his mother to my right. And so again, we wanted to create, though, a comfortable space here as well, but using the furniture, the Regency furniture that has been in the family for a couple hundred years. And linking the drawing room to the library is the wonderful, glorious staircase hall with, of course, my favorite portrait done by Ambrose McAvoy of another American, Alberta Sturgis.
And quite a few other ancestors staring down at us. Now, what is it that we've got sitting on this cane chair?
Well, we've put
here?
Quackers there because...
Quackers! We're going to play Quackers.
There are certain pieces of furniture that unfortunately are so fragile they can't be sat on. And so I think it's quite sweet to put Quackers there to just
Brilliant
sort of
idea.
thing.
Particularly prickly Quackers.
Exactly.
That'll put people off. Right,
Now,
we're in the library.
We're in the library, and for our Grand Historic Tour, we will be setting up and moving the furniture just a little bit, but setting up chairs in here because we have a recital in here. So we have a recital, which is really exciting. And again, lovely light coming in, beautiful place for the guests also just to come in and read a book.
And of course, the patron book up in the bookcase.
Exactly. The patron book is right there. I spotted it.
You spotted
right
it.
there. That's where all of our wonderful patrons of a certain tier, their name is in there alongside.
Gainsborough patrons.
Exactly. Alongside the Earls of Sandwich's journals. Luke likes to call it the north attic. I like to call it the north wing. So here we've got an ensuite bathroom, the Victorian bathroom, which is the ensuite for the Victorian room. It's absolutely beautiful. And it's
an enormous tub. Look at that. It could fit about 4 or 5 people.
It's a beautiful, beautiful space. It was once, I think, kind of a...
It was a bedroom.
Bedroom, yes.
This was a bedroom, but we converted the whole thing into a bathroom.
Exactly. And then moving down here, that is the bathroom for the Victorian bedroom.
Look at the Victorian bedroom.
I love the Victorian bedroom. It's got sort of warm blues and some warm reds. And one of my favorite pieces that we recently found is this lovely Victorian embroidered pillow. I think it's just brilliant. So again, beautiful room here. We are ready for our guests. Coming into the garden room, and this is the ensuite for the garden room. The reason that this room is called the garden room is because it has exceptional views onto the Italianate formal gardens down below. And what a splendid day. I just think it's absolutely beautiful, and these views are sensational. And as you can see, this bedroom is for 2 singles, and it's lovely, it's comfortable, it's wonderful.
It's got a lovely big closet in here.
One of probably the most sensational bedrooms in the house is the great chamber. It has a fantastic pendant ceiling, and again, views out to the croquet lawn, views out to the Italianate gardens. It's beautiful. I mean, one of my favorite bedrooms. I mean, I keep saying that, but they're just all so lovely.
And we've replaced all the mattresses here, so people coming to stay are going to sink into these things, and they probably won't wake up in the morning. But look at how comfortable this room is. Malcolm, who's been helping us with all of the interior design, has done an absolutely fabulous job.
Yes.
And through here, you have an adjacent bathroom. This used to be my grandfather's bathroom. I remember it well. He had about 7 different types of toothpaste and toothbrushes lined up on this little table here, one for each day of the week. Anyway, now it's become a sumptuous bathroom, another enormous bath, very comfortable, a small thunderbox loo in the corner, and again you've got these magnificent views out of the window into the gardens.
Coming through here from the staircase hall and down this corridor, we have probably my favorite loo in the house, the Thunderbox loo.
This is the large Thunderbox loo, and it's got various political cartoons. There's my grandfather. There's a sandwich cartoon. Here's our family tree, and then it's just rather fun, this, because it's I don't know quite how old it is, but obviously good 150 years old, and it's got this amazing handle. We had the whole thing rebuilt about 3 years ago, so it all functions, which is very important. People need functioning lavatories.
Exactly. So heading down the corridor, that loo is for the Tudor bedroom. So that loo's for the Tudor bedroom.
We've gone past some lovely drawings of my parents, my father, my mother, and then into the Tudor bedroom.
Into the Tudor bedroom, exactly. And again, we've got sensational views out to the Italianate gardens. In fact, I can see some visitors there
and you've got
just sitting on a bench.
Sitting on a bench, and you've got my mother on the wall behind you. And here is a lovely, comfortable Queen Anne 4-poster. You do have my grandfather sort of slightly glaring at you in the corner of the room here, but that's okay. He's very friendly. More goodies and biscuits.
So for the Tudor bedroom, you have the Tudor bath.
This used to be an apricot bathroom. The bath was a fairly garish yellow, but as you can see, it's all been redone. You've got these lovely muslin curtains that allow you to see out, but people can't see in. Very comfortable bathroom for the Tudor room. And then, of course, we are into one of the newest rooms in the house.
Definitely my favorite bedroom now. But we found these wonderful velvet and sort of gold metal thread hangings, and they had been from Hinchingbroke, which was the original family ancestral seat, and we found them. We had just enough to go on the inside and the outside for the palmet around this 4-poster bed. It's absolutely beautiful.
This bed has got a brand new mattress. Look how deep and comfortable that is going to be. Good selection of books for anybody wanting to read. And then I'm afraid you've got my great-grandfather, George Montague, who needs a bit of a clean, actually, because it's quite a dark picture. He will be watching over you. And we are now into the latest addition to Mapperton House, which is the chapel room bathroom.
That's right. It's so beautiful. Absolutely stunning, beautiful. We've done an amazing job, and we've got this fantastic cast iron French bath. Wow. Really, really beautiful. I'm so pleased with how this turned out. It's been a project in the making for about 5 years.
Sure has been.
And now we're heading up to what I like to call the south wing. I think this is the room we'll do first. This is the olive room. So lovely olive room, again, has its own ensuite, beautiful bathroom, which was recently redone. It used to be the water tank here. And I love this room. I just think it's bright, it's cheery. The color scheme works really, really well with the olives and sort of the ochre together. Fantastic. And a lovely view of the dovecot there.
Well, not just the dovecot, but you've got some of the best views here looking down into the countryside. And this is the olive room bathroom, which used to be the water tank room for the house, but we've turned it into a really comfortable place. And all the plumbing had to be pulled out, all the tanks had to come out, and we now have new hot and cold water.
Right.
Here is Julie again.
Here I am. So there's a loo there and a bath here, and that is for the next room, which I'm going to show you. So again, I love this. It's sweet. We've been able to just use this small space and create a lovely room in there to have a wonderful bath. Heading into here is the loo for the ochre room, which I'm just about to show you, the ochre room.
This has got a wonderful old tank on the top by William Dibbam of Southampton, and a magisterial lavatory we have there.
So that loo and bath is for this bedroom, which is the ochre room. And I love it. I love the tongue and groove on this side. It's a sweet room. It's a single bedroom. It has fantastic views as well.
This one has views out of the front of the house. You can see the balustrade. And then it's a small single room.
It's lovely. It's really, really sweet and lovely. And last, but certainly not least, is again another room that we converted to have an ensuite bathroom here. This is the Persian room. Beautiful tulips in there. An ensuite bathroom here. Views out to the Italianate gardens. And of course out the front lawn as well.
Picture of my grandmother in a summer hat.
And
looking rather distinguished.
In here, so you can see why it's called the Persian room. We've just we decided when we looked at all of the spaces and how to create bedrooms, Malcolm and I really looked at color schemes. We looked at how we wanted to dress it, the textiles, and I think it's an incredibly comfortable, lovely, and light room as well.
Welcome to Mapperton Gardens in high summer. I expect most of you were there for our spring programme.
So.
We hope so,
yeah.
And we hope you're all going to enjoy the gardens in the summer so much. And also then, of course, come in the autumn and the winter, because every season is beautiful. But at the moment, Steve, what are we on about, really?
Well, I think today it's mainly about our roses.
We're going to say they're absolutely perfect, and they are, particularly the ramblers, the other side of the garden. But here we've got some really beautiful old roses. That is Cardinal de Richelieu, and that is...
It's William Lobb, which is a moss rose.
And is it Cardinal de Richelieu that likes climbing?
It's William Lobb, I think.
William Lobb.
Yeah,
It's just going up and up.
It is, yeah.
And apart from the roses, the banks are looking fantastic.
Absolutely, yes, yeah.
And the weeds are looking fantastic.
Yeah, every day they grow a little bit more.
A little bit or quite a lot?
Quite a lot, actually, yeah.
Because we're getting the sort of growth we should have had in May now.
Yeah.
So let's go and look at the banks, shall we?
Excellent.
First, and then we can go and look at the roses afterwards.
So we're just in between the banks, and it's a busy day actually, lots of visitors around enjoying the day. So we were going to have a look at the banks and talk about what we do with them.
Well, I will start and you will continue, yeah? I will start in February, when there are a huge number of snowdrops on the banks and they look absolutely lovely. Moving on to April, when the daffodils and the narcissi are out right along the banks. Although, Steve, we need to plant some more in one area, don't we?
Yes.
And then it's over to you.
So then we let the banks grow wild into sort of July, and we get this amazing display of oxeye daisies in amongst sort of lots of other wild things, because the banks are very dry and they bake, and so we get this growth which is lush, but it's not too lush, and so we can leave it a bit longer than we can leave other areas. Once all this has gone to seed and is dried up, we trim it all, and we do that by, we have one person that trims from the top, another person that trims from underneath, and we try not to have to go down between, because they're incredibly steep and quite hard to keep a footing on.
Yep, dangerous.
Dangerous, yes. Quite exciting. And then they grow again until sort of October time, and they get a tidy up of them for the winter. But this is sort of hitting their peak.
There are those who say that they are the remains of a 17th century garden. And they could be, because banks like this have a history in the 17th century. And if they are, it's the only bit of 17th century garden that's left. And perhaps we can always think it is. Shall we go on towards...
I think we should.
Shall we go on to the wall and look at the rambler roses? Huh?
Definitely, yes.
And all the
let's
roses.
do that. Yep.
Right. Well, you may think this is rather a small area of rather a large garden, but it's a most charming place to sit. Lovely bench, which came from Minster stone in the 1920s. And this glorious rose, I'm afraid nearly over, buff beauty, and she'll flower again in the autumn. And then here there's this sort of very charming little rockery with actually rather a lot of opium poppies, but we don't use them actually. And also rather a lot of flowering ground elder, which is incredibly annoying. But you know, in a garden this size, you can't win. You're going to have flowering ground elder and opium poppies, and the rose goes over. And on we go.
If you are enjoying this episode, please consider supporting this important part of England's heritage by becoming a patron at mappertonlive.com.
Steve, these pots look sort of okay. They're going to look a great deal better when they've got a new middle. When is that going to be?
Any time now, actually. So we usually have Brugmansia in here, which are really tall, big leaf and really fantastic hanging flowers.
What are they called, Steve? Angel trumpets?
Yes.
Something like that.
But they've got old and they've sort of gone over a bit. So we've taken some cuttings from the ones we had, and we've grown those on, and we put these Salvia amistad in as a holding plant until the others were ready to go in. So any time now we can switch these out for the Brugmansia, and then we'll have a much better display in here.
And also the colour scheme will be better.
Yes,
because at the moment the colour scheme is a bit sort of ropey.
It's a bit clashy, yeah.
But these beds, Steve, what have you done to them this year?
Well, what we've been doing over the past few years is sort of editing them. So basically everything that's here now was here before, but we've just removed some of the things that didn't quite work so well and added in a little bit more of what does. And I'm particularly keen on the Cicerentium, which is a really great plant for sort of a dry bed, because it just does its own thing and it self-seeds as well. And then last year we planted the alliums as well.
And the alliums look great.
Yep.
And actually, and so does that geranium, which is...
That's Johnson's blue or Roseanne? Because Roseanne's got a white centre.
Oh, I think it's Johnson's blue.
Yeah. But we have got Roseanne as well.
Roseanne is over there.
But we've got our pink one is sneaking in again, which is the one we're forever trying to get rid of.
To interpret that remark about our pink one, we've got this absolutely hideous pink geranium with very small flowers and very large leaves that self-sows all over the garden. 2 years ago, the whole garden staff was absolutely dedicated to getting rid of this hideous pink geranium, which they did. It's back all over the place.
It is,
Not as bad as it was.
No.
But unless you do get down to it...
Yeah. Oh yeah, it takes over absolutely everything.
Immediately. Steve, this is what we're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So on our way through, I thought we'd better go and have a look at what the plan is for the pots. So this is a Brugmansia, or some know it as a Datura, but this is one of our old ones, and as you can see, it's sort of quite woody and not in great shape, which is why it made sense to take some new cuttings and grow some new plants.
I think it looks rather wonderful, actually.
Well, it's
but it's
nice
too
in
big.
Here. Yeah.
It's
Lots
too
of good
big
in
for
pots.
the pots. And they're poisonous too.
They are, yeah. And they look a little bit...
They look poisonous.
They do, yeah. And our Strelitzia is in flower as well.
Oh, yes. Let's look at the Strelitzia, which is here. Now, we've been talking about angels' trumpets. Now we're talking about birds of paradise. What more can you want in Mapperton Gardens? There is a bird of paradise up there. Do you see the flower? The Strelitzia.
And this looks quite an old plant. It looks like it's been here for quite a long time.
Sure, it has. It's been here all the time that I've been here.
Oh, wow.
And that's another one, but it never flowers, ever. And then what is rather pretty as well, I think, are these seeds of the pattern flower.
Yes, I kind of let them all sort of hang through. There's a balance to be had because it starts to look a little bit like a jungle after a while.
But surely, Steve, we're rewilding the orange tree, aren't we?
It's quite wild at the moment.
And then as we walk along, Steve, must have pruned that goldfinch so beautifully.
Thank you. Yes. So I've started to have a proper, really hard go on them. In the winter, so early this year, I cut out probably a third of all the old branches on it.
Did you?
I did. Yeah.
Of goldfinch.
Yeah. I was brutal with it.
Good.
In the hope that then we'll start to produce some new growth from the base.
Which it has. Which do we know?
Well, let's have a look.
Let's have a look. Sorry.
See if it's been effective or not.
You're going to
So,
have to thread
yeah, no,
in.
I'll have a coming through the lot in here. Now, having a look at the base at the moment, there's not a great deal of new actually, which is a bit of a shame. That looks like it's sort of some good new growth in there. But the plan is to replace the old framework over the next sort of 4 or 5 years probably, and that means sort of removing some of the oldest growth. And also this year, I've started to sort of coil them rather than just going
I'm
out
never
straight.
quite sure about that. I know, I've seen that.
Well,
let's talk about that in the autumn.
Yes, okay. So the plan is just to try and slow the sap down as it goes. Yeah.
And this is Roseanne. This is a modern, wonderful modern geranium that goes on flowering all through the year. Well, all through the season.
Yeah.
With a white middle. And as we go on, there's a new rose we planted there, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
Which is another of these massive ramblers. Bobby James? Can't remember. I can't remember.
I think it was actually. I think so.
The thing is, Steve, you and I know most of the plants in this garden, but we don't know all of them.
No, very true.
And what is more, when we do know them, we forget them.
Constantly.
Constantly. But we're very keen on astrantia.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Astrantia is spreading throughout. And again, with this bed, we're starting to sort of edit and change bits as we go, because later in the year it'll go very red and dark and sort of fiery.
And look at that wonderful red admiral there. And so we're moving on. We're moved on now to this rose here is Rambling Rector. I'm not sure what rectors who rambled did, but I suspect they went off all round their parishes on a nice cob or nag and saw their parishioners.
Definitely, yeah. It's not looking actually particularly well.
Oh no, it's looking fine.
This is one of the ones I gave a really hard chop to.
Poor thing.
And so hopefully we will get some new growth from it, but at the moment it just looks sad.
Well, no, it looks all right. But what's this one then?
Well, this one is a similar, but sort of slightly doubled. Did you think it might be Bobby James?
I thought it might be Bobby James.
Yeah, yeah.
But anybody who sees this programme and thinks they know what it is, please can you sort of send in a message and tell us, because we're happy to be corrected on anything, aren't we, Steve?
Of course, yeah, absolutely.
Actually, we like it.
Yeah.
And I want you at the same time, just as we go past, Steve, I think our public should see what the deer do to us. Look at that hosta there.
So
look
most
at that other hosta
gardens have issues with slugs on hostas. We have deer on hostas.
And they're much more effective than slugs.
Yeah. Well, we've got lots of hedgehogs around here which are keeping an eye on our slugs, but they're not going to be particularly effective against our deer.
No, they're not. Luckily, the deer didn't see that. Well, let's go to the pergola and see what's happening, shall we?
Absolutely.
I mean, some roses are loving it and some are looking pretty drab. And some are not bothering much at all. But allure?
Allure, yes, absolutely.
Okay. Old hybrid tea.
Yes, oh yes, yeah, but an elegant one.
I know, rare. And then, of course, you like that thing, don't you?
Yes, American pillar. It flowers incredibly well.
No, you're completely right about that.
It's quite bright. It draws attention.
It's a pretty coarse pink.
It's a pretty coarse pink.
And actually, the reason we got it, as you know, is because it was the rootstock for other roses.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is why we have so much of it. And I remember it was really difficult to get you to dig one out up there. You said you didn't really want to. I'm in two minds with these things. For me, the colour palette is not my favourite. No.
But it does sort of suit the 1920s kind of ambience a little bit.
Let's look at Park Director Riggers. Now, Park Director Riggers is this wonderful, rather upright, deep red German rose, and he is, of course, called Park Director Riggers. And Johnny, my husband, really likes him. He's a real goer. Stays going. But actually, Steve, why aren't there any flowers down here?
Yeah,
please.
Well, we've been sort of encouraging him at the top, and he's doing very well at the top. But all the growth is right up there where we can't really enjoy it. Again, he may well be one that we need to sort of encourage some fresh growth from the base. Yep. But at the moment, he looks like he's being smothered by a vine as well, which is I'll have to get up there and have a.
Is that a vine?
Yeah, it is. I think it's. Oh, actually, or is it?
I don't think it's actinidia, isn't it?
Oh, it could be.
Oh, I don't know. Let's go through here anyway. I don't know. There's a point, isn't there, Steve, when we both actually reckon, I don't know, can't do any more. We're going to walk straight through and then have a look at Blairii number 2.
Yes, absolutely.
Now, for those of you who are listening, Blairii number 2 doesn't mean somebody with a hangover. It means Blairii. And it's number 2 version. And actually, I don't think I know what this pink thing is here. Do you?
No, I feel like I should. I was reading yesterday there's over 30,000 cultivated varieties of rose.
But I bet 29,000 aren't worth actually.
Well, no, you're absolutely right. But it's a good excuse for not being able to name.
No way. Now, Blairii number 2. There she is. Absolutely divine. Smells divine, looks divine. I'm going to have a little smell of her. Not very vigorous. Can we make her more vigorous or anything? Well, so any way she'll grow more?
I think she's quite an old example actually, and I think
Steve, she's only 10 years old.
Oh, okay. Well then,
Should we plant a second one the other side?
we could do, yeah, and just sort of see if we can replace her, because she is wonderful, but she's not very happy.
No, and actually, whenever I'm picking roses, I always pick her.
So right. That's why
they're even less than would be otherwise. We're now absolutely in the centre of the garden.
Yep.
We're also in the centre of the uneven paving stones, and luckily we've got lots of visitors, and they're not actually just in this bit at the moment. This fountain and the pond do need some goldfish, and we must put some in.
Yeah. We have got a few of our babies where
They are in there, aren't they? Or have they been eaten by somebody?
No, they are in there, but we need more because they used to eat all the algae. And
now they don't.
Now they don't.
Yeah.
So we're having lots of algae instead.
So next time we are in the garden, it's going to be late September,
Yep.
the beginning of autumn, the beginning of colour. What will happen to those beds, Steve, up there?
Well, the beds that we walk past should be deep red and yellow and fiery is the plan.
Both of them.
Yeah. Hopefully, by that point as well, I'll probably have started sort of hedging as well.
Well, knowing you, Steve, you'd start hedging tomorrow if you had time.
Well, we've got the box to do.
I know, the box. But actually what we've got is the garden growing like May when it is July.
Absolutely.
And so the weeds are just astronomic,
Yeah.
stratospheric weeds.
Yeah. We had a really cold May, and nothing grew as it should in May, and then sort of June started to creep, and actually the beginning of July now it's growing like May. Very unusual.
So I hope you've all enjoyed the high summer tour of the gardens, the roses in particular, and Steve and my chat, which is very important for the gardens actually, isn't it?
Definitely, yes, yeah.
And works.
This is a day I've really been looking forward to at Mapperton because it's the start of something completely new and completely unique. This is a world first.
World first, yeah. Well, yeah, world first, or what do you say, Dorset first.
Dorset first. Because today we are launching our self-guided rewilding safari here at Mapperton Wildlands. And what that means is that you can now come to Mapperton, get a ticket and walk round the rewilding project here without a tour guide. Now, Ben, that's rather sad, isn't it? Because you're the tour guide, and why would we want people to walk around without you?
Well, it gives everyone an opportunity just to walk around and see something a little bit different, and we're sort of trying to encourage a bit more citizen science as well. People to feel more involved with the rewilding project than sort of being sort of traipsed around the countryside by me or Dr. Tom and have to listen to what we say and our biased opinions.
Oh no! You have wonderful things to say, but all of the knowledge and experience of Dr. Tom and Ben has been distilled into this wonderful booklet, which will actually become a booklet. At the moment it's a printout, and people can come, get a ticket, they get this booklet, and then this gives you a guide to walking around Mapperton Wildlands. And I can see that our very first stop is there. It says number 1 and it's got an arrow. Following the guide, it tells me to get my ticket, tells me to be sensible as I walk around, no dogs and livestock, all those good things, follow the country code. And then it says that you will have a series of markers, and I guess this is the very first marker. And if I go here, safari stop number 1, the gallops, and it instructs me to look out across the field. Then, what can we say?
So then hopefully as well, we'll on this there'll be a QR code that we can scan, and it'll show you a video and some pictures of the gallops when it was his last crop of barley. So 2 years ago, and then you can obviously compare the difference and see how much it has changed over the last 2 years. So what we're seeing is a lot more scrub coming through. We're seeing there is a lot more ragworts and thistles and stuff like that. But that is the first stages of succession. So we're really aiming for old growth or woodland pasture, and the first sort of stage of succession, as it's been left as bare ground, it is for weeds and all the sort of species that are more coming from sort of bacteria-based soils rather than because there's only bacteria in that soil at the moment because we haven't had any fungal growth in there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's extraordinary about this field is that it was full of wheat only 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was a full-on arable field, and now it's something completely different, and it's on its journey. And Ben, you were talking about the QR code. Look at that. There is a QR code for stop number 1, as you said, Ben. And if people are watching this and you've got your phone at home, you can just go to that and look at some of the video that is associated with this field and all the changes that are happening. Right, off to stop number 2, which I think has a great view.
Got a lovely view.
Yeah. Let's go. It's a fairly long way between stop 1 and stop 2. But
it is.
You get all your steps in, don't you?
You get your steps in, but when you get up to the top here, it's worth the sort of journey up the hill, isn't it?
It is worth the journey because we are now approaching Coltley, and this is stop number 2.
Yeah.
And stop number 2 is really about the view and how unbelievably magnificent it is. Look, we've got these dead standing oak trees that are providing wonderful habitat for all sorts of insects and other things. And you can see all the way across the estate now, down through the valley to the sea beyond. The sea is only 6 miles, just a hop and a skip.
Yeah, just hop and skip.
Yeah, and we've got a new fence just been put in here, so people will be able to kind of know where they are and enjoy just standing and soaking it all in.
Yeah, and you can see from up here as well, you can see down to where the beaver enclosure is.
Yeah,
so
you can see Whole Acre Wood.
See down there, you can see the Iron Age fort, isn't it?
It is an Iron Age fort. You can see the fort just in the distance.
So
you can see Hook Park.
And then you can also see as well, all the way up to sort of near enough where Point 1 is, and you can see back along sort of where the arable was as well. So
yeah,
you get a real good view.
That's true. That's
there.
true. You can see other parts of the rewilding project over on that side, and Homewood with its wonderful ancient woodland on the lower slopes, and look at all of the gorse and scrub that we've got in this field as well. This, of course, is also where the landslip has been.
Yes.
So yeah, stop 2.
Stop 2 done.
We got 8 more to go.
Yeah.
Is that right? How many have we got in total?
10. Yeah, 10.
10. Yeah.
Well, yeah, 10.
Ben, thinking about it, we're not that well kitted out for a safari, are we? I thought you'd have one of those Australian hats with kind of corks to ward off the flies. I mean, I've at least got some binoculars here.
Yeah, no, I'm not really kitted out for it.
No. Or you know, one of those sort of hefty sticks.
Hefty sticks, just sort of beating over
keeping away the jackals or whatever they're.
Hopefully you won't need a stick when you come round on this.
It's very tame, isn't it?
It's all very tame round here.
This is not the Serengeti. No, there's no chance.
No chance.
Of a lion taking you out. There must be some wild, dangerous. Well, of course there are.
Well, yeah,
but we're trying to keep the public away from sharp horns.
So we're now into sort of the first part of the rewilding.
Now, if I was to think about which way to go here, I could think about going that way, or I could note that there is a wonderfully freshly mown path along here, which is encouraging me to think that this is the route. Is that right?
That's the purpose of, well, 2 purposes for the cut route is for that exact reason, and then also because we're getting to that stage of year with ticks and everything else going on. We also thought it might just be nice to just have a cut path, keeps everyone out away from all this long grass as well, and also as well it does help with songbirds, ground nesting birds, bit of a drying out strip as well when it's had wet rain. And it gives us a nice little sort of walk, and it just makes everything a little bit easier for everyone.
And it was quite fun to mow.
It was really fun to mow.
I did a bit of that. Yeah, one man and his mower. Or no, one man went to mow. Do you know that song?
I do. Yeah, I do know it. Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to break into song.
You could.
No, well, no, okay. I'm all right, thank you.
All right. Right, we are coming up to stop 3. And you can't miss these stops, can you?
No, you can't. No, you definitely
it's very
can't.
Clear. Stop 3 is called Badger Rise, and there's a woodland strip up above us here, which has had surprise, surprise, lots of badgers in it. Do you see any badgers here?
We do see the signs of badgers. Obviously at the moment it's just so overgrown, but you will see pathways and trails, and then you will see little scrapes as well around parts of the rewilding, so there'll be latrines as well that they've dug out, so definitely keep your eye out because there's definitely badger activity around in this area. Yeah.
And if you can't see badger, you can certainly see some foxgloves.
Yes, yeah, lots of foxgloves as well.
Wonderful purple. And yeah, so then we cross the boardwalk.
Cross the boardwalk, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
What did you just saw?
Male sparrowhawk, yeah.
Sparrowhawk.
Yeah, male sparrowhawk.
Fantastic. This walk is really full of things to see, and because of this fantastic bit of work that Ben and the volunteers have been doing, we managed to keep our feet dry.
Yes.
Rather than plunging into the boggy mud below, from whence ye shall not return, I suspect.
It's a bit like that, yeah. I don't really want to keep on having to pull people out.
No, but you've got a mule and a rope, haven't you?
We can
if you do get stuck there, Ben will come and drag you out.
Yeah, I will find you one day and I'll pull you out.
Yeah, you might have ossified in the process. Right, and this is now taking us up to this fabulous spot up here.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the best part. I think this is the best part of the self-guided trail.
God, well, don't build it up too much.
Well, okay, right, okay.
Yeah,
it's all right.
It's all right. This is an all right part.
This is all right part, yeah.
Yeah.
Stop number 4.
And stop number 4 also has a QR code.
Yeah.
So people can check that out. But it gives you, I think, the most magnificent view
Definitely.
Of the estate. And as if you were unsure of that, you now have a frame so that you can say to yourself, wow. And the point of that, surely, is to take pictures.
It is, yeah. Yeah,
Isn't
take
it?
pictures. And then also, once you scan the QR code, hopefully in 2 years' time, there might be, we'll definitely see some change. So you can sort of look at the original picture before we actually put it in.
Yeah.
And then you can sort of see what it is going to change to as well. You can already see, and as say, the picture's always going to change. You can see our Exmoor ponies and pigs through this as well. But you can already see a fallow deer just down there as well, just in the distance.
Oh, yeah, just sitting there in the distance. Sitting there in the grass, watching us.
So yeah, so it's always going to change.
She's seen us, hasn't she?
She definitely has, yeah.
So, and this frame, obviously, you can shift your perspective.
Yes.
So
yeah, exactly.
You can get a shot of the farmhouse. You can get a shot of the higher areas with the little fallow in the background. Look, if I zoom in, you can get a shot of our cameraman making silly faces.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. But I've thought of a really radical one. Come around this side, and you get the reverse.
You do get the reverse,
but
yes.
It's not quite as interesting.
It's not as interesting.
No.
Also, you are literally just about to go down the hill.
I am heading down the hill. Anyway, this way I get some chestnut and some fern, which is delightful.
Yeah.
But right, on to
number 5.
Stop number 5. So this is one of my favourite fields at Mapperton because it's just got a bit of everything in it. You've got these wonderful views, you've got Coltley Farm to the right, you've got the bits of ancient woodland up along the top, you've got exactly what we're trying to create here from Mapperton Wildlands, which is what we call wood pasture, where we have open grassland but we have sporadic trees, and there's a particularly fine oak over there. It's probably 400 years old or so, maybe has another couple of 100 years to go. Yeah. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's looking very healthy, and it's a really nice tree. You always see a lot of birds of prey and everything else sort of sat on the top of that as well. So it's always
some good perches, aren't
there? Good perches on that tree.
And this is a good moment to talk about birds, because actually a big part of coming here is listening out and seeing what you can hear. And if you go onto the booklet, it advises you to download the Merlin Bird app, which is a wonderful thing because it means those of us who aren't tuned in can pretend that we can recognise every bird that is out there. So anyway, it's a wonderful place to come if you're interested in listening out and indeed seeing birds, and of course the woodpeckers that I imagine go into that.
Yes,
that
yeah,
oak
there's a lot of woodpeckers
as
about
well.
as well.
Yeah. Right. Let's head
carry
on.
on.
Stop 5, on to stop 6.
Stop 6.
This is some very fine rootling indeed. In fact, this is like earthworks. They've created a whole area that has been excavated.
Yeah, it's rootling with the pigs all in this area, and it has been sort of a mix with the horses lying up overnight as well.
Ah,
So that's why it's so flat.
This is a bed for the ponies. Yeah.
That's why it's been so flat.
I mean,
that's why it's
it
flattened
doesn't
down.
look that comfortable, if I'm honest, and it's not that sheltered either, but it does look flat, so it's all making sense. The pigs churn up the earth and the ponies roll it flat with their bodies. I guess that's pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
working in tandem.
Crossing another of the marshy areas where people will be only too glad, Ben, that you've put in these bulwarks.
Yes, yeah.
And looking over on this side, wow, it's just absolutely stunning, isn't it? And look at all of the different vegetation that we've got here, all of the marshes. There's another meadow brown.
Yeah,
And
lots of foxgloves, lots of areas where you can see that stuff being lined up overnight as well.
yeah,
So yeah.
it's all absolutely wonderful to look at and to breathe in. This section, this stop, has a new name. We're good at new names at Mapperton, and it's called Rootling Ridge. And actually, there's another QR code on this one if you want to check out. But there's a fairly obvious reason why we're calling it Rootling Ridge.
Yeah.
Because the pigs just can't help themselves.
No, they can't help themselves here. So it's a real area where the pigs are really focused a lot of attention as well. But it's nice to sort of, you know, you can get quite close up all the rootling, and you can see all the different variety of grasses that are all coming through now as well. So it's so it'll be nice, and this area will change as well. So it's a nice little stop, really.
It is a good place to see regeneration in action. But hopefully at some point we'll find these pesky pigs, because there's been no sign of them so far. This field's got a new name, Ben. And I can tell you, it's not the old name that the farmers gave it.
No.
Tell us about the name of the hill, of the field rather.
Well, I sort of went on what the deer stalker calls it. So he calls it 3 humps.
3 Hump Hill.
For the reason of it's got 3 humps.
Yeah.
In the field.
They're quite fine and pronounced humps, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. So
Yeah. And
probably a historical burial ground, isn't it?
well, maybe. I suppose that's possible. But this is obviously right in the centre of Mapperton Wildlands.
Yeah.
And we've also got a QR code for this one. Good place to spot deer.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
Fallow and roe in particular.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a nice little spot, and this is a really nice area where not many people actually come to.
That's true.
It's, you know, this is sort of almost the forgotten part of the rewilding. I always think
Yeah.
it's just you know, you're sort of in the middle of nowhere, really, aren't you?
It's almost like its own little valley
Yeah.
as well, because it rises up on that side, and then you've got this hedgerow which has really become a series of trees.
And then we've got that sort of nice, sort of
And look at
still
this-
alive oak,
look at this oak.
but it's, that's a really good one for spotting woodpeckers as well.
It is.
Yeah,
Can we
yeah.
hear any woodpeckers? What can we hear at the moment?
I can definitely hear a yellowhammer.
That was a yellowhammer, wasn't it? The
The
trill.
yellowhammer just there.
And you're sort of slightly hidden and tucked away here, aren't you?
Yes,
You know,
yeah,
you've got
definitely.
a bit of shelter.
Bit of shelter, and then hopefully, yeah, we'll, yeah.
And a rather fine stone over there to kind of
Yeah, I
sit
don't.
and
I've always been meaning to ask what's the sort of the history behind that. Do you know
there's a
any?
boulder in the middle of the field,
Yeah.
and I can't tell you why it's there.
Okay.
I think it's just, you know, come from probably up the hill a bit further. rolled its way down.
Rolled its way down.
Yeah, right. On we go. So coming out of 3 Hump Field, which is just a magnificent place to be, we've spotted some wildlife, some really important wildlife. Ben, who have we got over here?
So we've got our Exmoor ponies just having at the moment. We're getting the sort of all the heat now. This is their sort of favourite place to tuck up in the summer and have a bit of shade and go for a sleep. So this is a really nice part of just being on the trail, but you get very close up to them and they're just in here having a good time.
It's pretty cool that you can just be walking along and suddenly we've got all these friendly ponies who are here. Now, Exmoor ponies are a key part of the rewilding project. They are browsers. They help maintain the right level of scrub. They also graze, and so alongside the White Park cattle and the Tamworth pigs, they are one of the 3 large herbivores that we have that are continuing to graze the area, which is so important if the vegetation is going to be managed. And look at this, we've got a foal who's taking an interest. Ben, they've become so much friendlier.
Yeah, they're a lot more friendly now, so I think it's nice that they're sort of able to, you know, they're not as skittish as they once were when they first arrived.
Yeah, you wouldn't have been able to stand here actually.
No,
they'd have been off. How close can we get, do you think?
I wouldn't want to.
Is that about it?
Yeah, I think this is about it. This is sort of comfortable
Yeah.
for them. This is very comfortable for them at the moment. So, but yeah, so the foal will be interested. She'll come a little bit closer, but she's having a bit of a scratch against that branch there.
She sure is. And she, of course, was born at Mapperton.
Yeah.
And her name?
Darwa.
Darwa.
Yeah.
Right. Excellent.
We've got a Tamworth pig deciding to join us as well.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So
look.
So it's all.
I was wondering what had spooked the ponies.
Yeah.
And it wasn't us.
It's all going
It was
on
the
there.
pigs. Here they come. Here they come. They've heard us.
Hello.
And this is the sort of animal encounter that you can expect if you come and see us.
No, this is sour, so she's not the friendly one.
She's not as friendly,
No,
is she?
she's not as friendly.
But she still
Yes,
likes having a back scratch. I mean, you see, the moment you start, she'll stop because that just feels too nice, doesn't it? Yeah. There we go. And look how healthy. Look at the wonderful sheen on her coat.
Yeah, no, they're really
Yeah.
good condition. Nice weight as well.
Yeah. And where's the other one?
She'll be along. They're always together.
Yeah.
She's probably just taking a little bit longer.
Yeah. Look at this. Hooray. How are you doing today? Yeah. Having a good nuzzle with your friend Ben. They've done a fair bit of rootling around, haven't they?
Yeah,
but
they've
the
done.
ground is getting harder.
Yeah,
for
they're-
rootling, isn't it? Is that? Oh,
There he comes. There comes the second one. There comes the second one.
we think that we're quite scary as human beings.
Oh! It's all going on now.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
That one
Hello,
almost
sweetie.
went for Chris's foot. I don't know quite what was going on there. Ben, what was happening there?
It was just because
Aggression. They were
there we
just
go.
showing off in front of the. Oh my goodness! That is my foot you're on. Look at this. There you go. So, were they showing some dominance in front of the ponies? What was happening
no, I think
there?
it's just because they're just on the verge. They've got us. There was a lot of things going on. They've got us stood
Us
here
here.
talking, and they've got the pigs coming from a different direction as well.
Yeah.
So there was just a bit going on for all the horses, so they just got a bit jumpy. So it's just that sort of fight.
Everybody
fight or
got a bit jumpy. I got a bit jumpy. Chris, I think, got
I
particularly
think
jumpy.
Chris was probably the most jumpiest. He's
Wait! I
shorts.
gotta get my camera out for this one, Chris. Just it's too funny. Chris is getting his shorts nuzzled. Chris, I'm afraid they've left a little bit of a mark there.
Yeah.
Is that all right? It's part of the job, really, isn't it? Bit of pig muzzling.
Yeah, bit of vanish.
Oh yeah, it's walked off.
That's it.
Right. Yeah. Right. On to stop 8, I think.
Yeah, stop 8 now. Yeah.
Stop 8. Yeah. stop number 8. And I think part of the purpose of this stop is to sort of turn around and appreciate how this is all going to evolve, because part of the plan here at Mapperton is to create wildflower meadows in places where they might have been, they would have been. And this is a very good location because we can plant it and we can get good access to it. And at the moment it's dominated by really quite boring vegetation, grasses, a bit of thistle, and so on. Ben, what's the plan for here?
So yeah, we're gonna sort of use our cattle and horses just to graze it off quite short.
Yeah.
And then what we'll be doing is we'll probably just put in some chain harrows, very light sort of machinery use, and then we'll just be broadcasting loads of wildflower seeds as well. So hopefully that
this will
establish.
Take off. Yeah. And of course, once you've got a good bank of seed here, it's just going to blow everywhere, and hopefully that will allow more wonderful things to establish themselves in other places. So this is all part of rewilding in process. Now, some people would say rewilding, you just let it go and you don't do much, but we've taken a view at Mapperton that actually we need to give things a bit of a helping hand, because if we don't, the chances of other plants getting through when we've got such thick grasses here, the ryegrass in particular, is pretty negligible. So we've really got to help kickstart things here at Mapperton. Very exciting, but we've got to be quiet because we've just spotted a female roe deer who is hiding out down in the marsh below. We're coming up to stop number 9, and I think this is one of the best stops actually, because again you've got this magnificent view and there's so much going on here. Yeah. Ben, talk us through some of the things.
So on the left hand side, when you go sort of past 9, you'll be going into sort of the marsh, orchid marshland down there.
Yeah.
At the bottom, so you've got that as well. And then also as you continue going throughout all these areas, you've got all these little areas where all the pigs have been doing a lot of rootling as well.
Look at all the rootling that's going on here
on the edges as well. And
it is creating this very warm soil, which you can feel the warmth in it, which will be attracting.
Yeah, you've already got loads of ants as well.
All sorts of good things. Yeah, look at all the ants. Look at that. Yes, they didn't like that when I disturbed them. But in among the marshland here is where you can find orchids as well. Now, we don't encourage people to go and find the orchids, but you can see them at certain times of year, particularly marsh orchids, the purple ones, there's the green-winged orchid. And so you've kind of got a bit of everything. And you've got bracken here. Now, people are quite rude about bracken, but actually it is part of our vegetation here. We do have to control it a little bit. The pigs do a bit of that, but Ben, you've got a particular machine that we're going to be taking out.
Yeah, so we've got a bracken bruiser, so that will be, it's sort of like a crimp roller. Yeah. It's just on the back of sits on the back of the mule, where we can just drive around and just flatten it, and then it suppresses the growth.
Yeah.
As well, and then what happens is afterwards the pigs will come and rootle where we just bracken bruised as well. So yeah.
Nice things for pigs to find at the bottom of the bracken. Right, let's keep going, because I think this is the last stretch.
Yeah, down.
It's down this way.
Yeah, down this way. Yeah,
fantastic. Well, we have made it round.
Yes, managed to get there in the end.
We did. And can I just say, Ben, congratulations, because this is an absolutely incredible experience, and it's really thanks to you and to Sam and the volunteers that we have this magnificent route for people. So please do come to Mapperton Wildlands. As we said at the beginning, it's the first self-guided rewilding safari. You can just come on your own, get a ticket with your family, with your friends, and go around and experience this extraordinary countryside. It's a real treat, isn't it? To be able to work
It is,
here.
and it would be nice to see people using it, and it'll just sort of feel, rather than we're sort of trying to close everything up, it's nice to see people walking about and being involved.
We're all about access here at Mapperton, so we'd love it if you come and see us. And now we are at stop number 10.
Yeah, stop number 10. Yeah, so
that says cup of tea, doesn't it?
Yeah, a cup of tea, back to the coach house, a bit of cake, maybe a beer, beer for the cameraman.
Cake sounds good.
Yeah.
Cameraman, no, he can pass. We'll be fine. We are turning left along the road at the top of Mapperton. You can see the Jacob sheep to my left, and to the right here we have the village. Right, I'm cycling on here through the Gallops. Gallops is one of the most important fields on the estate because it's part of the rewilding project, and this was a field that at one stage was an arable field with winter barley, was the last crop, but now it's reverting to becoming part of our nature recovery project. So I've parked up and I've come over to a field on the way to Mythe. This field actually last had maize in it, but again, this is now part of the rewilding project, and this is the very first field where we are putting in a deer exclosure. And the idea behind a deer exclosure is that it keeps the deer out, because we're going to be planting in the middle of this. We're going to be planting probably a mix of species here, maybe some maple, some oak, perhaps some lime. And you can see this extraordinary machine has the ability to carry all of the stakes, put the stakes in the ground, and then wire up around the exclosure itself. And this is the very first one that has gone in. I think we've got something like over 100 of these to go across the estate. So it's really exciting. From here, we are looking east across the estate, and you can possibly just pick out the old rectory on the left side of the picture. As we move on down, Whole Acre is just about visible, and as we come across, you can see the Iron Age fort that sits in the middle there, and just below that we have Whole Acre, and then to the right we have a wood which we call 10 acres. Right, we're going to come off here for our next stop, and this is known as the lime kiln field. Now, one of the things about this part of the estate is that there's quite a lot of old stone wall. You can see the wall along the side here, and it extends all the way down this field. You can see the limestone in the edges over here, and this contains valuable fertilizer. So you can see how this area in here is much lower. We're also at the western extent of the estate. So this field here is part of Mapperton, and the one on the other side, which has been very neatly mown by sheep, is not. But here it is. What a magnificent structure. And walking into it here, which is probably the first time I've been able to do this properly, you can see that they would have had an enormous fire, and that would have been baking the lime, which was then extracted and ground up and, as I say, put on the fields. I'm standing at a very important place at Mapperton. This is known as the posy tree, and it was planted after a much older sycamore died and had to be removed from this spot. The reason that it's known as the posy tree is that this is supposedly where villagers were buried after the plague struck the UK in the 1660s. And the story is told that villagers couldn't be buried at Mapperton because the ground is so rocky. We know that. And it meant that they were going to be buried all the way down to Melplash, down the road this way. Unfortunately, the Melplash residents didn't want the Mapperton bodies, and so a decision was made to bury them here. I suppose that was because of the risk of infection. Right, we are now heading off towards Marsh Farm on the second leg of this tour. Marsh Farm is one of the 5 farms here at Mapperton, and it's the one furthest to the north. Wonderful Marsh Farm with these lovely cottages, thatch cottages. We just, in the last couple of years, redid the thatch on those, and then it's got this extraordinary long barn at the back, rather ruined by this breeze block barn that was put in the middle. And then there is a much larger barn over on this side. Now, Marsh Farm is a farm that no longer fully functions with all its buildings. Indeed, you can see over here that this part of the barn, which was a lean-to, has almost completely collapsed. And I'm afraid this is a reflection of the changes in agricultural use over the last decades. Now, one of the reasons I'm here today is to look at the ivy, because we really do not want all of this ivy getting in under the mortar, because that's the first step for the destruction of these walls. You can see that actually this lean-to is in relatively good shape, but over here, look at this. We've got a whole lot of ivy that needs pulling off. That's going to be quite a big job. And as you pull it off, you can see how it's got into the mortar. And so as you pull it off, out come bits of stone as well. But if we don't, we'll be very sorry in a few years when things start crumbling. Acre Farm, you can see, has some of the best views on the estate because it looks down the valley all the way to the sea, which you can just see in the very far distance. Right, we've just got to the top of the Coltley Road, and you can see we have a big problem. And the reason for this is the geology. This hill is on green sand, which means that it's very unstable because it is slowly slipping down the valley. Look at that. That is a mighty crevasse. And I don't think the whole thing is going to fall away, but it's been relatively recently fixed. And you can see there's some new tarmac here. And what has happened is that with all of the tremendous rainfall that we've had, the land has started slipping down, and this is going to need a really big job. This is the field at the top of Wash Hills where the pigs are. At least they're supposed to be here. Well, I have to say, I'm really enjoying my ride around the estate. Not only is it great exercise, but sometimes you can find yourself at Mapperton stuck indoors with the endless list of office things that there are to do. So just being out in the fresh air and appreciating this wonderful countryside, which we are so lucky to be looking after. Even if I didn't find the pigs, I'm really glad I came up here. And we are now going to go to the south of the estate. Right, I'm coming past the glamping field here, the most extraordinary parts of the estate in terms of the view. And this is where we put our tents up. We're hoping to be able to do it this coming summer. And it's just a beautiful place to wake up and enjoy the peace and quiet of West Dorset. We're in what's called an AONB, an area of outstanding natural beauty, and you can see why. Coltley Farm is another of the 5 farms here at Mapperton, and I'm here because I've got a couple of things to do. I need to inspect these buildings because the roofs are really coming off, and there's a new piece of roof that has come off and I can hear it clanging in the background. This is the main barn here at Coltley, and you can see that the roof has almost entirely fallen in. In fact, I think one of these days the whole structure is just simply going to collapse inwards. There's not much we can do about it. Again, it's all built on green sand, so it's slowly sliding down into the valley below. Now, the place I've actually come to see is on the other side of the farm over here, where you can see that we have some other buildings also not in a great state of repair. There you go, look at that. This is a concrete surface, and the water has just found its way and is now pouring out of there and going down into the stream beyond. Now, this barn used to be a barn for animals, but it was then used as storage when we used to have pheasant shooting here. You can see all of these different feeders and hoppers, and we've got some big water tanks over here. But recently the roof has come off. Hurrah, hurrah. Yet another big job here at Mapperton. These sorts of small farms is they've just got these wonderful stone buildings which have no agricultural purpose anymore, and the only real way that they're going to survive is if we can convert them into an alternative use. If I was an Iron Age chieftain, I think I would definitely have built my fort somewhere here, because I can see all the way round. The only problem with that argument, of course, is that there is an Iron Age fort just over there. And so good as this place is, and you can imagine battling invaders off the ramparts, I think that that is actually a superior place. And look what I've just spotted in the distance. You can see the Exmoor ponies. There they are, all of them. Right, we're getting close. That was just pure carelessness on my part. I'm absolutely fine. The bike is fine. I just had an almighty skid. We're stopping here because I think I deserve a bit of a rest, and I found somewhere rather wonderful. You can see that this is a part of the estate that time forgot. There are these extraordinary gullies, very slippery, I hasten to say. I don't have boots on. I have got walking shoes, but they're not really gripping. And you can see how this extraordinary stream has carved its way down through into the banks of the hillside and beyond. And in here we can see a certain amount of birch, and we've got a tree that's actually fallen quite recently. I can tell that it's fallen recently because the soil looks quite fresh, as do the ends of the roots. This was not brought down by a beaver, I hasten to add. And here we are at the edge of the Iron Age fort. You can see the sheep gently grazing the grass. And this is as far as we're going to make it today. The fort, you can see, has this extended mound that reaches all the way back. This would have been the way in. And down the bottom there you can see a small cottage called Burkham with Hook behind, and then over the top here is Porton and Manor Farm and Chandler's Valley and all sorts of other wonderful places that we're going to have to visit on the next tour of Mapperton Estate. Thanks for coming out today. Please remember to like and subscribe. Today we are finishing the tour here at Mythe. Now Mythe has featured before on Mapperton Live. It's the lost village that is down to the south of the main house, and it's hidden in this extraordinary valley. There was once a village, and the village might have had as many as 40, 50, 60 people. In fact, people were living here through until the middle of the last century. And you can see why. I mean, it's staggeringly peaceful and quiet. Mythe means the confluence of two streams, and that is what's happening here. You've got two streams meeting each other, and that provided enough water for a mill. So they were able to grind grain, make bread, do all the things that were needed to create a community. And here is one of the streams as it heads down, and you can hear the water flowing because there's a drop here where we have Mapperton's largest waterfall. I know it's hardly the Niagara Falls, and yet you can see that there's enough water here to have turned a wheel. Right, we are nearly home. We are just passing what we call Homewood, which is the wood just to the south of the main house, and coming down the hill to the bottom of the garden. Now, this is actually one of the muddiest bits of the whole trail, so I'm rather hoping I don't fall over. Oh my goodness, wish me luck. Here we go. Straight through. Ah! We did it. We did it. We did it. Yes. Ah! Oh my goodness, I'm getting soaked. Ah, no, nearly. Ah! Okay, that was a proper slalom. I don't know how that came across on camera, but I didn't know this was going to be here. This is cycling through water. Thank heavens I'm in a fat bike that can do this, because any other bike I would be in real trouble. I've actually made it back to Mapperton. There were moments there when I wasn't sure that was going to be the case. I'm exhilarated. It was just a brilliant ride around the estate, and I'm soaked. I'm exhausted, but I've had a fantastic time, and it has to be said that it wouldn't have been possible without my trusty steed, the Him Away Zebra Fat Bike.